Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining us today on Facebook Live. We're here to talk about VERA today. So this is our Facebook Live VERA Q&A session. And my name is Alan Perry, and I'm a Federal Benefit and Retirement Specialist with MyFEDBenefits. And what we're going to do today is try to help you with your questions about the early out opportunity. It's often referred to as an early out. And just love to take your questions and get some feedback from everyone. So please feel free to ask your questions as we go along, and I'm going to try to follow along with you here and take your questions as they come in. So welcome tonight, and we're glad to have you. So as we let people join in, there's some folks joining in, thanks. So as we let folks join in, just want to talk to you a little bit about what VERA is. So VERA stands for Voluntary Early Retirement Authority, and it is something that is offered to federal agencies. And right now, the one that we're talking about is the one that's offered to the United States Postal Service. So what we have right now is a unique situation that's happened a few times and over time, and some people are excited about this opportunity and others just have a lot of questions about it. But what VERA is an opportunity for those that may not have been otherwise eligible to retire to be eligible to retire sooner without penalty. So there are some pros and cons about taking a VERA or the opportunity of a VERA. And that's what we're here to address today, and we're looking forward to taking your questions as we go along. But the basic crux of everything is that this is going to give folks an opportunity to leave their place of employment right now without having to suffer any penalties. So under a normal retirement scenario, people have to either qualify for retirement in a few different ways. So the first one would be by attaining minimum retirement age and 30 years of service for FERS employees and for civil service employees, or reaching age 60 with at least 20 years of service, or 62 with 5 years of service. So often a lot of folks will be uninterested in leaving early because the penalties for taking a retirement without hitting one of those benchmarks is going to be something that's going to negatively financially impact them for a period of time. And so this early out opportunity gives people the chance to leave early without suffering a penalty to their pension. So I've been helping folks with their retirement and benefits my whole career, but in recent years with federal employees. And so I've been able to work with a lot of folks that work with different government agencies over the years, and in recent years I really focus a lot on helping people that work within the Postal Service. So love to take your questions if they come in. One of the things that I think is important to realize is that you can reach us through our Facebook page, and you can also reach us through calling our office. So as I'm looking to the side all the time, I realize that every once in a while it looks like I'm not looking at the camera, but it's because I'm looking at your comments. So take a look around at that, and we'll talk about some things here. So what we've had is a lot of folks that have had a lot of questions about the early out opportunity. And so it is coming to a time where there's not going to be an opportunity to take this once the month of March has ended. So there are some specific deadlines coming up in March. So what you have to do if you're still interested in accepting this VERA offer and retire from the post office sooner than you may have thought is that you do have to have all of your paperwork submission received by shared services by no later than 8:30 p.m. on March 23rd of this year. So you don't want to push that deadline, but it is certainly an opportunity for you to still have some time to take a look at it. A lot of folks will be taking a look at this that are between 50 and 60 years old is what the range is generally going to fall in. So the requirements for being eligible for the early out opportunity are to be at least 50 years old with at least 20 years of service and be a clerk or a mail handler for the United States Postal Service. If you don't meet that requirement, you can also have at least 25 years of service and be any age. Now, you should have received a packet that would allow you to understand that you're eligible for this early out opportunity if you're eligible. Now, the one thing that might have gotten in the way for you is that if you didn't get one, it might mean that the post office doesn't have your updated address on file. So if you haven't gotten one and you've moved in recent years, you may be eligible for the VERA and not realize it because you didn't get the documentation to show that you were. So if you have moved in recent years and you think you might meet those minimum qualifications for the early out, you may still be eligible for it. So give us a call or send us a Facebook message if we can be of assistance to you. Looks like I've got some strange lighting going on here, but I'll try to leave it just like that and see if that works for us. All right, so we're going to be on here for the next little while to talk to you a little bit about your questions. And let's see if we've got any coming in yet that I can notice over here. So we've got a question that asks if there is a penalty for using your thrift savings plan before 59 and a half. So one of the biggest misconceptions relative to the thrift savings plan is the 59 and a half year old issue. So one of the questions that comes up almost every day for me is that people believe that with the thrift savings plan that they can't access their TSP until they're 59 and a half. And I believe that's mainly rooted in the fact that with most retirement plans like a 401k or with plans outside of the TSP, 59 and a half really is a magic number, and it sometimes can be with the thrift savings plan as well. But with the thrift savings plan, as long as you retire during the year in which you're going to turn 55 or after the year that you've turned 55, you can access your thrift savings plan without penalty at any point beyond that. There's also a way that a lot of people that are considering this early out opportunity, this VERA opportunity, to access their TSP, and that happens even for those that are 50 to 55 years old. So if you're not going to turn 55 this year and you are thinking about the early out for yourself, you may want to understand that there is a distribution method that is available to folks, and it's a specifically designed benefit that allows people to access their TSP before age 59 and a half. But what is important about it is that you understand there are some specific rules and regulations that apply to those types of distributions that you really want to talk to a financial professional about to make sure that they understand how it works and that they can help you, or that we certainly can do that for you as well. But a lot of people, when I ask the question, do you know where 401k comes from? 401k is just the regulatory code that directs that type of retirement plan. And the type of distribution that affects people that are under the age of 55 or those that won't be 55 this year is called a 72T distribution. So that just refers to the governmental code or the regulation code 72 section T that allows for a specific type of withdrawal. So for anyone that's eligible for this benefit, you may be eligible for a 72T distribution of your thrift savings plan. But it's very important that you follow those rules closely and that you make sure that you're not subjecting yourself to any unnecessary penalties or using your TSP in a way that's not going to be beneficial to you. But basically, to go back to the original question of 59 and a half, there are some benefits if you're still employed at the age of 59 and a half, where you can take what's called an age-based in-service withdrawal. And an age-based in-service withdrawal is what allows you to access your thrift savings plan if you're 59 and a half years old and still working. So it's one of the ways that you can access your TSP, and one of the only times that the 59 and a half rule comes into effect. Now, if you're separating from service and you're under 55 years old and you do want to access your TSP, if you don't do a 72T distribution, The only way that you're going to be able to access that before age 59 and a half is with a penalty or the 72T distribution. So make sure that you understand those rules very clearly. So let's see if we've got any other questions coming in that we can take right now. So let's address another issue that hasn't been asked yet, but I think that a lot of you will certainly have if you're not at your minimum retirement age. So minimum retirement age is determined by the year that you were born. So a lot of people that are going to fall into this VERA are either going to have been born after 1953. Those that fall in the category of 1953 to 1964, your minimum retirement age is going to be 56 years old. That would be what your retirement age would be without the VERA opportunity. If you were born in 1965, it's going to be 56 years old in 2 months, and then add a couple months for each one of those years until you get to 1970, and then the minimum retirement age becomes 57. So one of the questions that's coming up regularly is, will I get the supplement? Now, what I mean by the supplement has a few different names. So sometimes the supplement is called the Special Retirement Supplement. Sometimes it's called the FERS Annuity Supplement. Sometimes it's called the FERS Retirement Supplement. Sometimes it's called the Social Security Supplement, although it has very little, well, it has nothing to do with the Social Security Administration, but is a factor of a Social Security calculation. So relative to the early out opportunity that's going on right now, those that are not at minimum retirement age yet will become eligible to receive the supplement, whichever one of those terms you choose to use for it, when they attain their minimum retirement age. So to give you an example, someone that is 56 years old now and born between 1953 and 1964 is going to be eligible for the supplement immediately if they're eligible for the early out. Someone whose minimum retirement age is going to fall into one of those later dates between 56 and 57 will become eligible for the supplement when they attain that minimum retirement age. Or if they're already there, they're already there. And those that are under 56 years old right now that are considering this early out, for example, if you're 50 years old, and you were born in 1968, that would mean once you turn 56 years and 8 months old, you would start receiving the supplement at that point. So it's just something that's a very careful consideration that people have to give, because your income in those early years is going to be directly related to your pension, your supplement, and whatever method you use to distribute your thrift savings plan. So in the early years, for those that are under minimum retirement age, you've only got two channels of that distribution to think about. One of them being your sorry, lost my train of thought there for a minute. So one of them being your pension or your FERS annuity, and the other one being your TSP. So without the supplement, it's often a careful consideration that people have to give. Let's see here. Looks like we've got a couple people here. So David, what is VERA and the early out? So we started talking about this early on, but the VERA early out is an opportunity for certain clerks and mail handlers who meet minimum eligibility requirements, which are age 50 with at least 20 years, or 25 years of service at any age, to be able to leave their employment sooner than they might have thought. So it's an opportunity to exit the post office on an unreduced pension retirement, so no penalties for retiring at this point. That is what an early out is. And it looks like we've got a couple questions too. So also one of the things that you want to keep in mind is that over here on the right side of this chat window is some information. So You can always use the MyFEDBenefits Facebook page to send us a message, and we'll be happy to call you back and help you with any questions specific to your personal situation. You can also call our office at 877-741-1254. You can also email us at info@mfbhelp.com, info@mfbhelp.com. There's also a way on there that you can find someone in your local area. So we've got a spot on our webpage where you can click on your state, wherever you're watching us from today. And we've probably got someone that will be able to take care of you locally. And if not, we'll certainly have someone that can take care of you by phone. So, Mr. Hitt, if you'd like someone to contact you, we'll be happy to do so. Just send us an email or shoot us a message on Facebook, or give us a call at 877-741-1254, and someone will be happy to help you. So what other questions do we have out there today? So you're a carrier with 36 years of service and 64. So David, you are eligible for retirement. You don't need the early out to retire. So at 64 years of old, you only had to have 5 years of service to be eligible to retire. So you are eligible, and it would make a lot of sense for you to just go ahead and take a look at what retirement would look like today, or what retirement would look like down the road for you. And if you give our office a call, we'll be happy to help you with that. And we'll be happy to see if we have someone in your local area that can sit down with you individually to go over anything with you as well. So yeah, you're completely eligible if you've got the 36 years of service and you're 64 years old. So we'd love to help you. Take a look at it. You might be ready to go. You never know. It's funny, I talk to a lot of people about retirement, and a lot of folks don't realize that they're ready for retirement. Most people realize that they're emotionally and physically ready for retirement, but a lot don't realize that they're financially ready for retirement. And so it's just a really good idea to understand when you will be and what it would look like and feel like if you did right now. I see your comment, David. Yeah, most people that I work with have had plenty of the post office at this point. So it used to be that most people tended to enjoy their job, but at this point it tends to be more like they're ready to go. And if the numbers make sense and they can enjoy retirement financially, that they'll be ready to go. So we're looking forward to talking to you, David. Now, we've got a question. How long do you have to take advantage of the early out opportunity? So that's a great question. The opportunity to take advantage of the early out ends on March 23rd. So if you have not submitted your paperwork at this point, you definitely want to think about doing it soon. All the paperwork has to be received by shared services by 8:30 p.m. on March 23rd. If your paperwork gets there late, you will not be able to take the early out. And I imagine they're going to be very strict about that timeline. So it's something that you definitely want to take advantage of soon to find out if it works for you. So I'll talk to you a little bit about some folks that it's worked for. Let's see here, actually. What happens if I don't have my NALC for the required 5 years before retirement? So, Zona, that's a great question. Let's take that one real quick, first of all. One of the questions that comes up at the time of retirement for a lot of folks is, how do I continue my health insurance into retirement? Well, as long as you have been under a federal employee health benefit plan for the 5 years prior to retirement, then you're eligible to continue your benefits into retirement. One of the misconceptions is, do you have to have the same plan for the last 5 years? So maybe you're under the NALC plan, or maybe you're under the Blue Cross National plan, or maybe you were under a combination of the two. As long as you were under a plan that fell under the Federal Employees Health Benefits umbrella, which encompasses all of the plans available to you, then you are eligible to continue those benefits into retirement. So my question for you, Zona, would be, have you had any health plan under the Federal Employee Health Benefit umbrella for the 5 years, or have you only been on a health benefit plan through the FEHB umbrella for less than? If the answer to that question is you've only been on it for less than 5 years total under that FEHB umbrella, then health insurance is going to be a very important consideration and may actually be a reason to extend your employment. But if you've been under one of those plans under the FEHB umbrella, then that wouldn't be one of the most important considerations. Now, another interesting topic relative to your health benefit plan is what happens in retirement. So, Zona, I see, yes, you've been with Aetna for 15 years and the NALC for 2. So, as long as both of those plans fell under the FEHB umbrella and you got them through your employment with the post office, then you've met that 5-year requirement, even though you've been under the NALC plan for only 2 years. So if that is what you needed to hear to clarify your decision for retirement, then I hope that's good news for you. But yeah, if you haven't had that plan for 5 years, it's definitely something that you want to take into consideration, because in some cases, like let's say maybe you were covered under a spouse's plan for the few years leading up to now. And then once your spouse retired, you started with the FEHB benefit plans. It's sometimes a reason to extend employment for a period of time to make sure that you do have the ability to continue that employment. And especially if you're younger, and considering this early out opportunity, which I know, Zona, you wouldn't be, because I'm guessing you're a letter carrier since you're covered by the NALC plan. But if you're considering this early out opportunity and you're younger, then certainly the continuation of health insurance is going to be a very big deal. So let's see, we've got another question. I'm a PSE, been at the post office for 5 years. Now I think it's a PTF, but not sure how I can ever retire. And Leslie, thanks for joining us today. First of all, I'm glad that you're taking a look at your benefits early on in your career. And yeah, those PSE years, those certainly won't count towards your pension, but as a PTF, you are making contributions into the retirement system, and you're starting to build a plan that's making you eligible for retirement. So at some point in the future, as long as you continue on the path that you're on, you are going to be eligible to retire from the post office, and you are going to be eligible for a pension and the benefits that come to retirees. So what I would encourage you to do, Leslie, is to make sure that you are maximizing your benefits, because when you became a PTF, you probably received a very thick blue booklet and unfortunately very little support to go along with that. So what is really important is that you understand how all your benefits work, how your FEGLI benefits work, how your TSP works, and really have something in mind, because working for the post office can be an incredibly rewarding career, but I see that you're not a PTF yet. So if you're still a PSE, hopefully you get to PTF soon. But even if you're a PSE, what's important is that you make sure that you are helping yourself towards retirement at some point, because even though you're a PSE, you may have some things that you can do that would be beneficial for you to help you through the way. So let's see, we've got Terry Mika messaging that if divorced and your former spouse is a mail carrier opting for early retirement and divorce order split pension, what is required of the former spouse of the USPS? So first of all, I'm confused about that question a little bit, because the mail carrier wouldn't be opting for this early out. But if you're asking the question in general terms, if he's going to take an early retirement, the Office of Personnel Management, or OPM, who administers all retirement benefits for retirees from any federal agency, is going to look at your divorce decree and determine the actual calculation of benefits. Now, if that individual is retiring early, it's going to potentially reduce their pension, and it's also going to decrease the amount of benefit that that former spouse is, or that ex-spouse is going to receive, for lack of a better word. I hope that answers that question. But again, if you have any specific questions about your specific situation, especially when it comes to divorce and everything like that, it's really important that you speak with someone that's knowledgeable about it. And our benefit and retirement specialists all around the country are happy to help you with that. And Sylvia, is the post office going to offer this to any other groups? So over time, there have been this offer made to other groups, certainly. So this specific offer is only for clerks and mail handlers that meet the certain eligibility requirements. So almost asked if I'm going to have information about early outs. And this early out took everyone by surprise, including the American Postal Workers Union, the Mail Handlers Union. A lot of folks didn't even realize that it was coming. So often there's very little notice that there's going to be an early out offered. There's almost always a rumor that there's about to be. And there's certainly often a hope for a lot of people that there's going to be. But until one is announced and until one's been formalized, it's always just a guess. And we tend to get information very quickly when they come out. But knowing in advance of them coming out, rumors are rumors, and we don't like to speculate on the possibility that one might be coming because we found that rumors often aren't true. And so keep your eyes open if you're in a group that's not covered by this early out and you're looking for it. So let's see here. We've got a question that I resigned in 1989. Had 19 years and 8 months as a clerk, now 67, and just retired from doing 20 on another job, private sector. How do I apply for that time, or is there somewhere I can go talk to someone? So Jesse, you may have some retirement benefits available to you, and without trying to understand your situation through a Facebook chat, what I would encourage you to do is contact our office at 877-741-1254 or email us at info@mfbhelp.com or shoot us a message on Facebook, and we would be happy to address your personal situation specifically. Because if you've got some retirement benefits out there available to you, we would sure love to help you get them, and we've certainly been able to do that for people before. So that would be great if you would give us a call so we can understand your situation specifically. Let's take another question here. It says, if I've added a +1 to my health benefit plans just this year and I retire now, are they covered throughout retirement, or do they have to be on my plan for a certain length of time? Zona, if you're eligible for retirement benefits and you've got someone on your plan right now, then they will also be eligible for retirement benefits. All right. Let me see if there's any last minute questions that we can take. But as you're taking a minute to do this, thanks, Roy. We appreciate you chiming in. We're happy to help you anytime. If there's anything we can do for any of you, let me know. So we're at our allotted time, actually a couple minutes over. So let me just kind of wrap this up again the way we started. So if you are eligible for the voluntary early retirement, or what most is commonly referred to as the early out, you should have received a thin blue booklet. I know everything's a blue booklet, but you should have received a thin blue booklet, and separate from that, you should have received an offer letter which included what's called an annuity estimate that would have showed you some of your retirement numbers. If you didn't receive that and you think that you were eligible for it, then make sure that your address is updated with shared services. And if your address isn't updated with shared services, we can even help you understand if you're eligible and with all of the paperwork that you would need to accept the early out, even though you haven't received what you think you would probably need for it. But again, this early out applies to clerks and mail handlers that meet certain minimum eligibility requirements, which are age 50 with at least 20 years of service, or 25 years of service in any age, as long as you fall into that clerk or mail handler group. And it is something that you really want to take a good look at and decide if it's right for you or if it's not right for you. And that's what MyFEDBenefits does for people every day. In fact, probably every day since around the 12th of January, I think it was, that this was made available to people, I've spoken with someone, and that includes Saturdays and Sundays. My phone has rang every day since this early out offer came around, and it's been a pleasure to help all of you. And it does make sense for some, and it doesn't make sense for others. But what's important is that you understand your specific situation, and you make sure that if this is right for you, that you take it by March 23rd. And when I say take it by March 23rd, I mean make sure that your paperwork is submitted to Shared Services in time for them to receive it by no later than March 23rd at 8:30, because you'd hate to miss this offer if it is right for you. And even if it's not right for you, what's really important that you do is spend a few minutes before you get to the point where you might retire to really understand your own personal retirement situation and make sure that you're doing everything you can to have the most enjoyable retirement possible. And, then just to close it out, for all the people that I speak with, make sure that if you can get out of the post office and you're ready to, that you go ahead and do it. So I think there is no other questions that we haven't answered today, but it's been a pleasure to talk with you all today. And again, I would encourage you to contact our office if we can do anything for you at any point, and don't wait till the last minute because there's just limited resources the longer you wait. So the best phone numbers to reach us at are 877-741-1254 or contact us at info@mfbhelp.com or shoot us a message on Facebook. And look at our Facebook page for more of these live sessions coming up in the future. And it's been a pleasure to have you again. Zona 1 last time, the ages again are age 50 with 20 years of service, or any age with at least 25 years of service. So contact us if we can be of any help to you. It's been a pleasure to talk to you all today, and have a great one. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.